So guys, in the last video we went through the 14 stations of the cross, starting from the church of the condemnation, and we stopped at station number 9. And for today's video we're going to complete our tour of the way of the cross by going to the last 5 stations located at the church of Holy Sepulchre. Just a short recap from the last video. From the 9th station, we crossed the rooftop of the church, went to the Ethiopian monastery and reached the courtyard of the Church of Holy Sepulchre. Let's now explore the last 5 stations here. So guys, the cross section of the church here might make it easier for you to understand our bearings. From the 9th station, where Jesus falls the 3rd time, we walked through this open courtyard here, which was the roof of the Church of Holy Sepulchre. We passed the dome of the chapel of St Helena. We entered through the small doorway to go through the Ethiopian monastery, and once we did that, we came out to the open courtyard of the Church of Holy Sepulchre. So guys, before we enter the Church of Holy Sepulchre, on the right is station number 10, where Jesus was stripped of his garments. Once we enter the church, we go up the steps to Golgotha, where we come across station number 11, where Jesus is nailed to the cross. Station number 12, Jesus dies on the cross. Station 13, Jesus is taken down from the cross. And finally, station 14, Jesus is laid in the tomb. The two prominent domes of this church are the dome of the Rotunda and the dome of the Catholicon. This is an external view of the church. You can see the bell tower on the left, the dome of the Rotunda, the dome of the Catholicon, and this large cross was inserted on top of the dome of the Catholicon in 1996. So guys, we are now at the courtyard of the Church of Holy Sepulchre, and that's the entrance to the church. And this is the Chapel of the Franks, side of the 10th station. Below it is the Chapel of Saint Mary, and that's the entrance to the Ethiopian monastery. As we head to the entrance of the Church of Holy Sepulchre, there's an interesting tomb just at the entrance of the church. The tomb of Philip Dubini. He was present at the signing of the Magna Carta between King John and the barons, and he died during the Crusades. So guys, this is session 10. Jesus is stripped of his garment. It's on the right just before you enter the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. The Greek Orthodox Oratory of St Mary is located directly beneath the Chapel of the Franks and is dedicated to Saint Mary of Egypt, who came to Jerusalem at the age of 29 and converted to Christianity. Now let's go up to the Chapel of the Franks, the site of the 10th station where Jesus was stripped of his garments. The decorations inside this chapel was made over centuries. The painting above the altar depicts the 3 Marys watching the crucifixion. They are the Virgin Mary, Mary Magdalene and Mary of Clophas. And the altar below this painting is an ornate 18th century wooden altar. What remains of the mosaic here are actually from the Crusader period. This was the previous entrance into Calvary before it was closed up. This is a diagram of the Holy Sepulchre Church. So we came down through the Ethiopian monastery to the courtyard or entrance of the church. Before entering the church, we went through the Chapel of the Franks, the site of the 10th station. After we enter the church, we're going to turn right and go up the steps to Calvary. So guys, now we're climbing up the steps to Golgotha, which in Aramaic means skull. It's also called Calvary from the Latin word calva, meaning skull, the place of Jesus' crucifixion. So guys, this is station 11. Jesus is nailed to the cross. This part of the church is run by the Catholics. Guys, I borrowed this footage from Zahi Shaked. He has nice videos on the Holy Land, and he took videos of the church when he was not busy during COVID. And this mosaic here is a mosaic of Abraham sacrificing his son Isaac and the angel Gabriel stopping him and asking him to sacrifice the ram here. So you can see the mosaic in the far wall is a mosaic of Jesus being nailed to the cross. And the mosaic here is of St John with the three Marys, the Virgin Mary, Mary the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene watching Jesus being crucified. Next to this station is station 13 actually, where Jesus is taken down from the cross. Is marked by this statue of the Virgin Mary being pierced by a sword. So guys, next to this is station 12 where Jesus dies on the cross. You see we're lining up to actually kiss the place where the crucifix was placed. This section of the church is run by the Greek Orthodox denomination. We have Jesus on the cross flanked by, on his right, the Virgin Mary, on his left St John. And this is a stone of Golgotha, the original stone of Calvary or Golgotha. So people actually line up to actually go under this altar and kiss the spot where the cross actually was on. So after exploring Golgotha, we're now coming down the stairs back to the bottom of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre.
This is where they prepare the body. They put the body here before putting in the tomb. Like in the picture here. They put perfume, they prepare the body. So they prepare the body and they put it like here before putting him to the 14th station. The 14th station we will see there.
Now this is the stone of anointing where Jesus' body lay after he died, where they prepared his body before burial. And a lot of people are coming and touching that stone and saying a prayer, including me.
I don't know what I was thinking. Can't see anything.
So guys, after this we are walking towards the Armenian shrine here, also called the Place of Three Marys. This shrine, run by the Armenian denomination, marks the spot where the three Marys watched Jesus being crucified. They were the Virgin Mother, his mother's sister Mary, the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene. And if you stand at this spot and watch Golgotha, you can see it up there. So this shrine marks the spot where the three Marys stood and watched Jesus being crucified. So now guys, we're going to enter the rotunda where the edicule is. We're now entering the rotunda of the Holy Sepulchre Church. The rotunda is the building of the larger dome. In the center of the rotunda is a small chapel called the edicule in English, from the Latin word edicula meaning small shrine. You can see the large crowd of people lining up, waiting anxiously to enter the edicule to see the tomb of Jesus. The edicule has two rooms. The first holds a relic called the Angel Stone, which is believed to be a fragment of the large stone that sealed the tomb of Jesus. And the second, the inner smaller room, contains the tomb of Jesus. We will now enter the Syrian chapel located directly behind the edicule.
You see, you can go even inside. So this is the two tombs for Nicodemus and Josephus of Arimathea. They had to make two tombs for themselves because they gave the tombs of Jesus. The tomb of Jesus you can't see underground, it's like 3 meters down.
So according to Jamil Abdul, these two tombs are the tombs of Nicodemus and Joseph of Arimathea. So I decided to ask the members of my tour group how they felt about the tour so far. So this how you feel after going through the 14 stations, both of you?
I didn't know.
You went most of it?
Yeah, most of it got enlightening.
Ajay? Any comment about that?
I want to sit on the throne.
You see a throne. So now guys, we're going to enter the Chapel of Adam located directly beneath Golgotha.
Here. And this is traditionally called the Chapel of Adam. There is a belief that the blood of Adam, also the skull of Adam was buried here. So this is the belief. And so the blood of Jesus also will pass on the place where Adam was died. So this is only traditional. And there is an earthquake. Archaeologists they approve that there was an earthquake at the time of the crucifixion. At that time, that's why you can see there is a crack in the stone there. So here the tile is new, but the stone as the shape of the skull, it's behind it. You see part of it, the stone. So part of the stone is like the shape of the skull, as you see. That's why it's called Golgotha, and it's a place of execution. So this.
Let's now visit the Catholicon, run by the Greek Orthodox denomination, located in the center of the church. So this is the Greek Orthodox Catholicon, and the altar there, the iconostasis demarcates the Orthodox sanctuary behind it. And the navel stone or omphalos is supposed to be the center of the world according to the Greek Orthodox denomination, and that's the dome of the Catholicon. We'll now visit the two Catholic chapels, Chapel of Mary Magdalene and the Chapel of the Apparition. Now we are entering the Chapel of St. Mary of Magdalene. This is where Jesus appeared to Mary of Magdalene soon after resurrection. So you can see the nice portrait there of Mary Magdalene seeing Jesus appearing to her. And this nice altar here, you see the same feature, Jesus appearing to Mary Magdalene. We are now entering the altar of the apparitions run by the Franciscan order. What is interesting here is they have this stone which was where Jesus was supposed to have been tied when he was scourged. This is the stone here. Another interesting feature is this row of statues depicting the way of the cross. Station 1, Jesus is condemned to death. Station 2, Jesus receives the cross. Station 3, Jesus falls the first time. Station 4, Jesus meets his mother. Station 5, Simon helps Jesus to carry the cross. Station 6, Veronica wipes the face of Jesus. Station 7, Jesus falls the second time. Station 8, Jesus speaks to the daughters of Jerusalem. Station 9, Jesus falls the third time. Station 10, Jesus is stripped of his garments. Station 11, Jesus is nailed to the cross. Station 12, Jesus dies on the cross. Station 13, the body of Jesus is taken down from the cross. And Station 14, Jesus is laid in the tomb. And there's an extra station here where Jesus rose on the third day. We'll now walk through the Arches of the Virgins, a passageway heading east towards the smaller chapels. Now there are 7 arches along this passageway, and the columns here date to different periods of construction. This column is typical of the 4th to 6th century Byzantine period, while this column is a 12th century Crusader piece. Now we're going to head towards the prison of Christ, where Christ was supposed to be held a prisoner.
The Greek Orthodox, but everyone else accepted it as well. I mean, think about it. When he reached the Golgotha, he was.
If you see this photograph of Jesus being held a prisoner, his legs are held into these two cavities which can be seen here. We will now explore the ambulatory, a covered passage behind the altar. There are 4 chapels to see here. Let's start off with the Armenian chapel of the Division of Robes, followed by the Greek chapel of St Longinus. This Armenian chapel of the Division of the Robes marks the place where the Roman soldiers cast lots to divide Christ's clothing between them, as mentioned in John chapter 19 verse 23. The next chapel is the chapel of St Longinus. He was the centurion who pierced the side of Jesus while he was hanging on the cross. St Longinus, who was nearly blind, was healed when some blood and water from Jesus fell onto his eyes. And it was he who exclaimed, as mentioned in Mark chapter 15 verse 39, "Indeed, this was the Son of God." St Longinus then converted, left the army and became a preacher. And he was martyred for being a Catholic. Hence, it is dedicated to him. The next chapel in the ambulatory we'll visit is the Chapel of the Risen. This Greek Chapel of the Risen commemorates the mocking of Jesus by the Roman soldiers. Under the altar is this fragment of a stone, which is said to be the one Jesus sat on when the crown of thorns was put on his head. You can see the portrait here above the altar, the picture of Jesus sitting on the stone while the crown of thorns was put on his head. Now we'll go between the chapel of the Division of Robes and the chapel of Division to reach the chapel of St Helena and the chapel of the Finding of the Holy Cross. There are 29 steps descending into this underground Armenian chapel of St Helena. This was the crypt of the Emperor Constantine's 4th century basilica and thus is the oldest complete part of the church. The Armenians have renamed the chapel to honor their national patron, Saint Gregory the Illuminator. And you can see the mosaic here preserved since the 4th century. We can see this mosaic of the Mount Ararat and Noah's Ark too. What is interesting about the dome of this chapel of St Helena is we actually saw it when we walk across the church rooftop when we were walking in the earlier episode. That's the dome of the chapel of St Helena seen here. On the right of this chapel, there's another 22 steps leading down to the Franciscan Chapel of the Finding of the Cross. According to tradition, St Helena, Constantine's mother, discovered the true cross here. And the statue behind the altar here shows her holding the cross. Behind these glass walls are actually remnants of 12th century frescoes which are preserved for posterity. This statue here shows St Helena holding the cross. And this lighted up area here with the cross is the actual spot where Jesus' cross was found by St Helena. So guys, the ladder up there has been there for the past 300 years. And let my friend Raja explain why.
Nobody can take it down.
Okay.
The reason is there are 6 groups of Christian groups here,
Ah.
and they all don't agree with each other.
Okay.
And because of that, nobody wants to touch the ladder. They leave it there.
Oh, okay. So Raja was right. Under a decree called the status quo, imposed by the Ottoman Turks in the year 1757, the ownership of this church is shared between the 6 denominations: the Greek Orthodox, the Catholics, the Armenian Orthodox, and 3 minor communities: the Coptic, Syriac, and Ethiopian Orthodox Church. One effect of the status quo is, by looking at the ladder here, it cannot be moved because it was in place when the status quo began in 1757, 260 years ago. So it must remain there.
Okay, we will keep continuing from here.
So that's it, guys. Stay tuned to my next video. Cheers.